I actually never lose when it comes to real estate because, for the most part, if my house is not paid off free and clear, it's generating so much money that it can be. And if it is paid off free and clear, I done already leveraged it for every fucking thing I'm gonna leverage it for because I'm not buying a house unless I see the cash flow that's gonna come from it straight out the gate. That's gonna get my initial investment back. So, okay, y'all. So one of my homies gonna ask me, how do I feel when I lose money in real estate? And I told the nigga, shit, I don't feel no different losing money in real estate than I did when I lost money in the dope game. It's no different. Shit. It ain't never, goddamn it, no peaches and cream. That shit hurtful. That shit hurt your pockets to the core. So it's no difference, but knowing what I know now as far as information wise and how to leverage, I actually never lose when it comes to real estate because, for the most part, if my house is not paid off free and clear, it's generating so much money that it can be. And if it is paid off free and clear, I done already leveraged it for every fucking thing I'm gonna leverage it for because I'm not buying a house unless I see the cash flow that's gonna come from it straight out the gate. That's gonna get my initial investment back. With that being said, you don't necessarily lose money in real estate because if you do the shit right, I be no money of my own into a deal for the most part in all my properties. So meaning if I spent 20, 30,000, I got it right back either through a credit line or through turning credit to cash or, for the most part, of rehabbing it all. You swipe for it. My contractors go to Lowe's, Home Depots, whatever store they go, all the material they using for the project, I'm gonna swipe for that. So that was no money out of my pocket. Of course, I'm responsible for paying the bill back. That's the most obvious. That's whether I go buy a Louis bag or go fucking buy a car. You still responsible for the bill, but the thing of it is, I'm still no money into the deal until the house start cash flowing, and then all the money that is cash flowing, once I pay back all the credit or loans or credit lines I didn't use for the deal, everything else after that is all free to me, including the real estate with the tenants cash flowing it. So long after I done paid back the initial down payment, long after I done paid back the loan, everything else after that is all free for me to do whatever. Sell the house, Airbnb it, transitional living. Like, one of my properties, I do share living out of there, which is renting individual rooms versus the whole house. And that house cash flows like a hell. But utilities and shit like that can get high. I got utility bills in the thousands from just that one house alone. But what happens is it don't be like that all year round. It be mainly doing like winter seasons and stuff where you gotta run the heat, summer where you gotta run the AC. So you've got to expect to pay something like that, but at the end of the day, I'm still not paying that bill out of my pocket because whether I swipe my credit card for it, send in a cashier's check, money order, whatever the case may be of how I pay my bill, the tenants is still reimbursing me back plus whatever's profit left after the mortgage is paid, the utilities is paid, taxes, insurance, all that's included in the mortgage. uh Pretty much good to go. Everything else is straight cash flow. So back to the original question of how I feel losing money in real estate versus in the streets or whatever you want to compare it to, is really no comparison. I don't lose money now. Like, as arrogant, as confident, or uh maybe even ignorant that some people may say that is to say, it's the truth. Because when you leveraging other people's money, okay, if I'm comparing it to the streets versus real estate, in the streets I take a loss, buy some fake drugs or get robbed for the money, ain't no reimbursing that. It's just gone. I gotta hustle that back up. In real estate, if I lose because a contractor then did some bogus shit, then rig some shit up, I gotta pay somebody else to come behind him. So I just paid twice. At the end of the project, I'm still not coming out my own money because that first month rent and deposit, that usually take care of everything that I didn't put into the house. And that's just one tenant. So say I'm doing that times 5. You do the math. I haven't came out no money. So like I said, losing money in real estate versus losing money in the streets is two different things. In the streets, you losing your money. Sometimes you losing your freedom. And the majority of the time, you losing your life. And that's 100% of the time. Because I would rather the stress of losing money legitimate than losing money in the streets, because now that resorts to you having to do other shit to recoup that money, or you just never do. And on top of that, end up catching a case right after some bad shit that happened. So it just feel like your whole world is crashing down on you. So I didn't experience them all. That's why losing money, it don't phase me not one bit. Cause like I said, long as I ain't gotta lose my freedom behind it, I'm good to go. I can hustle the money back up. That's no problem. I done took many losses in my days and haven't had a problem with any of them. And for the most part, most of my moves are strategic, well planned out, or whatever the case may be. So I typically don't lose money and no investment. It just an investment cannot do as good as I thought it was gonna do. But as far as losing money, nah, I ain't even gonna put no money up if I don't think there's no type of way for me to get it back on the back end. So that get back a motherfucker. Yeah, that get back a motherfucker. So with that being said, man, hopefully that, kind of elaborate, if you ever think you're taking a loss, you can't even look at a loss as a loss. You got to try to see what the lesson to learn from it. So, one, you don't do the shit again. Two, you can help somebody else from having to go through that shit by, giving them the game. Or three, you can charge like hell because that's a good service. You paying for experience I went through so you don't have to go through it. I mean, it's only obvious you should look out for somebody like that. So, uh, I love taking mentorships because that's what that's based on, helping you not lose money by making mistakes you could have avoided had you just paid another motherfucker that been through it already before. But that's the cheat sheet. Most people miss it, and that's why it always end up to costly losses that you gotta, dwell on and lose your mind over and question yourself what you do wrong, how it could have been better. You can skip all that shit by taking on a mentor from somebody who done been there, who's where you trying to be, or going places that you trying to go. That's the cheat sheet. So you don't take losses. And then you'll be able to confidently say what I just said probably 5 minutes into this video, that I don't take losses. So that's the cheat sheet for you. And listen, I'm about to give y'all one last cheat sheet to help y'all avoid taking losses, whether that's in real estate, stocks, um, I don't know, name it, trucking business, you name it, is when you don't go into the deal with none of your money, how can you actually lose? And I'm going to repeat that. When you don't go into no deal with none of your own money, how can you ever lose? And that's including if the deal don't work out. The deal could go all the way bad. You still didn't take the loss you would have had that been all of your money. So focus on capitalizing off of OPM, which is other people's money. Whether you got that money of your own or not, it still does you good to use somebody else's or put somebody else's into the atmosphere. That's like using their money as a test dummy for you, so you ain't sent your money out there to fuck up. I don't know if most people understand that, but that's the logic I use. That's how I avoid a lot of losses by leveraging the resources that I have available. So hopefully you got something from that, and I can give you some real life demonstrations on how to leverage, turn credit to cash, all the methods that'll help avoid you from taking a loss of your own. That it's ridiculous. Like, you'll feel played once you know the stuff that I know